One of, if not the main point of the NASCAR playoffs, is to make every race consequential. The idea of somebody coasting through the season, finishing 10th every race, is unappealing. Or at least it was until we saw the current alternative. The real problem with the win-in-you're-in playoff format, though, is that it makes each individual race matter less than ever. Unless you're one of the 30th place cars that happens to get a win each year, doesn't that always seem to kind of happen? Then it matters a lot. You jump from 30th in points to 16th, make a couple extra $1 million. Fantastic. But the fans don't really like that either. Dale Jr. has been telling stories lately on his podcast and everything, seasons where Earnhardt, Sr., had rough days, mechanical failures, things in the middle of the season just jumped up, grabbed him, put the championship, the whole season in jeopardy, everything they had been working for, and it was gut-wrenching every single time. Any single race could be a severe setback. So you had to tune in, see what happened. If something like that did happen, then it made every race after that matter even more. And you had to tune in to be like, okay, that crazy setback happened last week. Are they going to be able to bounce back? Is something going to happen in the competition? Now, we can't afford to have another bad race. We need to make up for the ones that we lost, those points that we lost. This has happened throughout time. Tony Stewart, 2002, championship favorite, Daytona 500, blows engine, lap 3. Can he dig himself out of that hole? It creates a compelling narrative for the entire season. But if that happened today, we just shrug. Okay, great, sucks. Feels like shit for 4 seconds, and then you're like, well, Tony's going to win a race. He might win the next race. Then he'll be in the playoffs, and then the points will reset. So it doesn't matter. Flush it and move on. And so that's one of the biggest gripes, the points reset. Maybe we just get rid of that. Make the championship 3 races instead of 1, and you're done. Not so fast. Denny talks a lot about the points reset. He hates it, compares it to stick and ball sports. You don't reset the score to 0-0 after the third quarter just for the sake of excitement, he says, which, yeah, that's true. I do think it's a little bit of an over-exaggeration, though, to say the score resets mid-game. It doesn't. It does reset after each game or after a full playoff series, and it would be way worse if it didn't. In stick and ball sports, the team records reset after the regular season, so everybody starts the playoffs 0-0. But the top team gets the advantage of getting to play the worst team, and most. Get to that later, too. And so, yeah, this can honestly be a point of contention in all sports. A team that was 10 games back or 15 games back can win a short series, 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins at most, and eliminate the top team. But we kind of know how hard that is, how unlikely that it is to put together a whole series. It's hard to beat somebody in a series. And that's why it works in those other sports. And even if the bottom team does pull that upset, they have to start the next series 0-0, play the next best team, and do it all over again. And it would be ridiculous if they didn't start 0-0. You can't just have the worst team win, beat the best team, and be like, oh, now they get to start the next series with an advantage, 1-0, 2-0, whatever it is. In the same way that if you win a football game 40-0, you don't get to start the next game up 40-0. How stupid would that be? Pretty stupid. So anyway, yeah, that's where the comparison to stick and ball breaks down for racing, because the racing points, they are cumulative over the course of the season. The score of a game is not. And Denny's looking at it from the standpoint, I'm a top 3 car. I built that 40-0 lead. Stop resetting me back to be closer to the bottom guys. But what I haven't heard a single person mention, it would actually be worse for the top cars if they didn't reset the points, at least throughout the playoffs. Because, yeah, that initial reset after the regular season, that tightens everybody up. But NASCAR has playoff points, and that doesn't really exist in other sports. And that does give the best cars a head start, albeit it is a small one. It should probably be more. You win the regular season, you get 5 more points than the person behind you. In a race, it's 5 points. It should probably be a little bit more. Maybe we should actually incentivize winning even more. We think we're incentivizing it a ton, but, are we? it probably should be more. Anyway, the result of that is they pretty much start with a full race of points over the cut line to start. You could have two, maybe even one for sure, two bad races. There's people that had three pretty bad races and were never really in jeopardy. Larson this year, for example. And after those three races, it resets again. So even if they have three bad races, they're going to be a full race over the cut line to start the next round. And obviously, that margin shrinks a little bit because that cut line does creep up and up and up. And eventually you have to have a good race. But, these cars can actually coast through pretty well if they have enough points accumulated. Really, like Truex tried that out. Byron, to some extent, is trying that out. Larson's trying that out. Not really putting together great races, but so far it hasn't mattered. They're far enough above the cut line. Meanwhile, the bottom cars, they have to be great every single race because they have to make up the deficit. And as soon as they do, if they do, it resets and they have to do it again. And so I get it. If you're Denny and you're the top car, you're like, God damn it, why do I have to get reset and be closer to the bottom car? But if you're the bottom car, it's tough as hell. It's harder. And so they're kind of earning it if they do it to some extent. Let's take a look at a real example. Bubba, great first round this year. All three races, great. He climbed the standings, got up, higher and higher in the standings. After three races, bang, resets, puts him back to the bottom. Guess what? The good guys, the best guys, quote, best guys, they had shitty races. They get reset. They get put back to the top. Even though they did worse, they got passed. So, I would actually start to argue that the playoff races matter even less. During the regular season, you get 26 races before they reset. In the playoffs, you get 3 races before they reset. And now I know you don't want a situation where you can outdrive somebody for 3 races out of 30 and eliminate somebody that was good for 30 races out of 30. But that's not what's happening, and it would happen more if they didn't reset. Because after those 3 races, the Bubba did good. Again, Bubba actually had, he had a pretty good season. But let's just say somebody that didn't have that great of a season, even Josh Berry isn't like the fairest example because he had an alright season too. But, he wins one race early on and then not really a contender in the grand scheme of things. Obviously had a terrible first round, but let's just say he had an amazing first round and jumped up and was like close to the top 4 in points, right? And then those points didn't reset. And now you have people that, maybe had just a bad race. They're going to get eliminated just because this guy has 3 good races. Like, that would be kind of crazy. Make him climb the mountain. Make him climb it again. The continued resets, although annoying, do actually continue to let the best cars keep that very small advantage that they have. And so really this circles us back to the original point, though, and it's the most damning one at all. The playoff format is supposed to make every race matter a lot, and it makes them matter even less. The full season format, that's going to make every race matter equally, for better or worse. They're all going to be the same. A single race can make or break the entire season. And if you have a bad one, you got to claw up for weeks to make up that lost ground. That's drama. That's long-term, compelling drama. When you're in playoffs, it's like, yes, I have to tune in every week. I have to see who wins. That's, every race matters so much because it is your ticket to the playoff. But does it really matter that much? Like, yeah, on any given week, anyone can win. That's short-term drama. I guess you can't get any other way. You get a Cinderella story made in the blink of an eye. Chaos sometimes, huge ramifications. Now who's going to miss the playoffs as a result of this unexpected winner? Whoa. But for as tense as that is, we actually hate it when it happens. Because for as crazy and cool as it is to see someone unexpected win, kind of sucks knowing that you're then stuck with that narrative for the rest of the season until they're inevitably eliminated in round 1. And like, yeah, it was electric when Harrison Burton won, but it's like, he's going to get eliminated immediately. Like, who really cares? Maybe even a better example is last year, Suarez won at Atlanta, 2nd or 3rd race of the season. So then for like the entire year, you're looking at the playoffs, like Suarez, he's locked into the playoffs. He was terrible, more like not terrible, but like just irrelevant for the rest of the season. And he's just locked in the entire time. And it kind of is just like a downer. right? Like, as soon as the crazy thing happens, you're like, all right, well, now the crazy thing happens. It's over, and now we're stuck with this. It feels like a waste, too. You know, some people get outraged, like, oh my God, this is a disgrace. Like, Harrison Burton's in the playoffs. He gets to fight for a championship, too. But if we're being realistic, there is only ever, like, 4 to 6 legitimate contenders, max. So it doesn't matter. If Harrison Burton takes a spot in the playoffs and he wastes that spot, who's he wasting it from? Right? Like, someone else random could have won. Stenhouse could have, you know, like, did he steal the spot from Stenhouse? Like, sure, I guess. Is Stenhouse going to win the championship? No. And even if there isn't a crazy unexpected winner, who makes the playoffs? Like, Buescher? Preece? They had incredible seasons that should be celebrated. But are they going to win the championship? Like, I know, like, Buescher especially is really good. But it's just, we're not even really wasting the spot. It's dumb to say that. There's not 16 people with an equal chance to win the championship. Every spot is not created equally. Whoever gets in on that 16th spot, 9 times out of 10 is not going anywhere. And if they do, it's just because maybe they were misseeded, and that means the 14th person is not going anywhere, or the 9th person is not going anywhere. Not all of them are going anywhere. Look at Bowman. Bowman is consistently a top 10 driver, like 8th to 10th. Sometimes he's barely making the playoffs. Sometimes he makes the playoffs, but honestly just doesn't even get that far. Are you wasting the spot from Bowman? If Bowman made the playoffs, was he going to win the championship? He's really good. He's in the top 3rd, maybe even like the top 4th of the drivers in the series. But they're not all legitimate championship contenders. So anyway, all of that, kind of go back to some things that Dale Jr. said. He's like, yeah, the regular season, the way this thing is, it's just kind of there now, you know, like it happens. It's cool. You want to tune in. Even if you don't, like, you know, no big deal. It's just something to wait through until you get to the playoffs. In the part of the season, you know, that really matters, when every race actually is intense and consequential. But no, we already kind of said this. The playoff races matter less than the regular season because you're setting the points every 3 races instead of every 26. So as soon as something happens, bang, it's like it didn't happen right away, pretty much. Feels like right away. It's really hard for the top cars to get eliminated until at least the round of 8. And it should be. But that also means that the playoffs start with 6 races that don't matter fuck all for anyone other than those around the cut line. And those people, again, are like not people that were ultimately that interested in the first place. Like, oh my God, is Austin Cindric going to advance? Is SVG going to advance? It would have been fun if SVG especially advanced. But then we know it's like, he's just going to get eliminated again. Or he won the Roval. He fucking advanced to the next round. Now we know for a fact that he's going to get eliminated after that. Like, and then at that point, you might actually be wasting his spot because it's gone down to so few people that you might actually knock down somebody that had a legit chance to win at Phoenix. And, like, very likely is going to be, like, Logano. So maybe we applaud that. Who knows? You get what I'm saying, though. Really, we want the cars that should be there at the end to be there at the end. And I'll actually say that, for the most part, that tends to happen with this format. Like it or not, the cars that are supposed to be there at the end are usually there at the end. And what we ultimately really, really don't like about it is that it is just one race at the end. A coin flip, more or less. You can do everything right, blow a brake rotor, and you do not win the championship. If that happens to Corey Hyman trucks this year, or Zilich and Xfinity this year, God help us all. And again, probably will be the end of the format if those things do happen. But yeah, the most you can do in these playoff races is win and get another handful of playoff points. And that's something to sneeze at. Everybody wants to do that. Everybody wants to take the pressure off. Win that first race of the round especially. Get 5 points. Get 7 points. Briscoe gets 7 points. That actually helped a lot, right? He's not all the way at the top. He gets 7 points. That like almost doubled his points for the season of playoff points that he got to keep. Important stuff. You want to win every race, but you're not going to win every race. Especially because once you do win a race, you start preparing for the next round. That's how little these playoff races matter. As soon as you win, you're like, that's a load off. Whew. Good thing I don't have to worry about these next 2 races. They don't matter for shit. Let's make sure that we get the next round right, because that really will matter again. We really could, get eliminated again. And so you got Ryan Blaney out there, not him personally, but his team testing low tire pressures, doing a little experimenting for Las Vegas, are we? Now that we finally get a 1.5 mile track for the first time since goddamn May or something. Blows a tire. Logano, he didn't even win. They're testing shit on him, allegedly, perhaps. Now we're going into a race, a playoff race, in a backup car, pretty much by choice, because if the race mattered, they're not going to be that aggressive during practice, crash, and have to start a playoff race in a backup car, but the race doesn't matter. Yeah, if you win, great. Yeah, 5 more points, but it's fucking 5 points. Like, ultimately, at a certain point, you either make it or you don't. Like, people make it and break it by 1 point. Yeah, every point matters. But if that was really true, they're not blowing tires in practice and starting last in a backup car on purpose. Anyway, let's look at another example. We already kind of mentioned this one, Kyle Larson. Are you a fan of Kyle Larson? Playoff start. He gets damaged, driving around broken, finishes a race 19th. You're watching it and you're like, man, this is kind of hard to watch, I want to see him do better. He hasn't done good in a long time, actually. But, it doesn't matter. Look at the points. He's up there. He's in the top 4. He could have finished last to be in the top 4. No big deal. Next race, same story. Comes in 12th, a little bit better, but not in contention. Next race, last race of the round, he comes in 32nd. 32nd. And you know what you do? You look at the screen and you go, it doesn't matter. He was virtually locked in before this. That 19th place and that 12th place got him locked in. We don't want full season because we don't want people getting complacent and going the whole year. Coming in 10th and not having to worry about a care in the world. He fucking 19th, 12th, pretty much locked in, comes in 32nd and advances. How is this better? Then since he goes 7th and then 6th. I guess that's a little better, right? Still not even remotely in contention to win. Hasn't been since May. And if it was a full season, nobody would be like, yeah, he is not winning this championship this year. There's no fucking way. You couldn't have 5 races in a row where you're not in contention and you just shrug. That would never happen in a season-long championship. That's insane. There's no set. It'll reset. We'll try again. And it hasn't been that much different for Byron. I think I heard recently he's only led 6 laps since May. And he won the regular season championship, but he's barely done shit either. It's like, are these, it's like in other sports when they worry, this team, they wrapped up the division. They won the division 3 weeks early. They had a 15-game lead. They haven't had a meaningful game in so long. Now, are they going to get beat by the hot hand? Is it better to be playing consequential games until the very end so that you're locked in and focused? And you do see teams sometimes just get fucking steamrolled by the wild card team, because the wild card team, they've been playing playoff games for a month. Every game matters so much. They have to be locked in. And yeah, that's draining. They usually drop off after that, after their high of, eliminating the top seed. But the top seed can get complacent. And that's their fault. If that's happening, that's their fault. Right? Larson, Hendrick, whatever, Byron. If they're complacent, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, they haven't run a race that's mattered to them since March. And now they're just supposed to flip the switch and be intense and good again? That's hard. It's hard to do. And that's why somebody like Logano, there's kind of a twofold thing where it's like, yeah, in the playoffs, he is on that cut line. He is the team that is locked in the entire time, fighting for the life, losing the life, getting another life in some cases. But being so locked in, he never loses focus. And when it's time to perform, he does perform. And that's how all the other sports work. And it seems like Penske as a whole gets that to the point where, are they mailing in the regular season to some extent? Blaney was better and more consistent this year in general. The DNFs, those happen, I guess. And who knows why that happened, but it's like they do not even care. As long as they get their win and make the playoffs, which, hello, even Cindric and Barry did, so they clearly know what they're doing. Not that Cindric and Barry are bad, they're not, but you know what I mean. It's like they mail it in all year. They're like, if we're good at one track, we're just going to keep collecting the championships. Do they have people all year working on Phoenix, where these other teams are actually going race to race and kind of like stuck in tradition, trying to do it like the quote correct way, where they focus on each week, 1 week at a time? Because that's not really the situation, especially for these teams that are expected to be contenders and make the finals. So, I don't know, man. Like, this isn't Who's Line where everything's made up and the points don't matter, but it kind of is. A playoff format that's supposed to make every race matter so much so that nobody can coast through the season pretty much does the complete opposite. For the handful of people that are contending, the whole season basically just doesn't matter, especially once they get their win. They want to get points. They try to get points, but if they don't, it's like, okay, we'll try next time. And it's just so we'll try next time, really until it gets down to like the round of 8. And then at that point, it almost turns into more of a coin flip because the sample sizes are so small, they don't even have full control over their destiny by then anyway. So some people say it's not legitimate. You can see where they're coming from, and yet, taking a football example, nobody says the Giants championship is illegitimate when they beat the Patriots. 18-0 Patriots, best team all year. 10-6 wild card Giants. Actually kind of made it more impressive, right, that the Giants won. In other sports, we like upsets because we know how hard they are. So maybe in NASCAR, even with the resets, it's still too easy. But like I said, without the resets in this format, it would be way too easy for those bottom cars to catch up. Again, after the regular season reset, which, like, if you're going to have a regular season and playoffs, it's going to reset. Like, I don't see a world where that doesn't reset. Otherwise, it's not a playoff. And if you're 200 points out as the 16th car and the points don't reset, you don't even have enough time to make up those points. So, like, why are you in the playoffs? You're not in the playoffs at that point. It's not a playoff. It's a full season. So the points have to reset to start the playoffs, or else it's not a playoff. And then if they don't reset during the playoffs, then you're just letting the teams that caught up with the initial reset stay at the top instead of making them fight each round like you would, because they're rounds and they start over after each round. I hope I'm making that point clear. In the same way in sports, again, if the wild card team wins, they don't get to start the next series with a lead. They're the wild card team. They go back to 0. The top team is still better. That's their advantage. And now they go head to head again. Whatever. Mostly I'm just afraid that they are going to be short-sighted, keep the playoffs, remove the resets, and that would be just a disaster. Again, in other sports, when the underdog wins, they have to start from scratch and they have to win again. And you're like, wow, this is miraculous. Can this run continue? You kind of have that with this format, and you don't have to like it. But like, if Bubba had 3 great races, knock somebody out. I mean, again, imagine if somebody even lower had 3 great races, advance, had 3 more great races. Like, that actually start to get electric. It's like, can they do it again? Can they start from 0 and do it again? Meanwhile, yes, I know that the top cars are pissed that they're getting reset, but I would liken it to they're getting reset back to 1, whereas the lower cars are getting reset back to 0. It's actually maintaining their advantage, their small advantage, not getting rid of it. Anyway, really, ironically, people arguing and debating this format has made me realize its strengths, because at first, it's easy to agree, right? Playoffs are dumb. Full season's better. The resets are dumb because it hurts the cars. Like, why would you reset the cars with the most points? But they still have more points than the other cars that are also getting reset. So you kind of have to do it. You might still prefer 36 races. I don't blame you. I think I'm probably right there with you. But that is kind of what it is. Let's actually, before we break, consider a few matters of basic logic. The more playoff formats you introduce, the more you're going to split opinions. So yeah, on one hand, sure, the current playoff format, it's imperfect. Let's make changes, improve it, get it closer to being the best it can be. On the other hand, it introduces the 3rd or 4th different NASCAR playoff format in the past 25 years. If the fans, we're going to oversimplify here, but if the fans are 50-50 now, half of them want playoffs, half of them want full season, and now you create a new playoff, half of the fans still want a full season. The only thing you did was split the other slice of pie in half. So you have 50%, I want full season. Then you're going to inevitably have 25% saying, I like the new way, and 25% saying, I like the old playoffs. Not everybody's going to like the new playoff better than the old playoff. So all you did was split. And now you have 75% of the people that don't like it. All of the people that still want the full season still like the full season. Plus the people that preferred the old playoff way. And then the last remaining quarter of the people are happy with the way it is. In the world of the angry Twitterverse, that is going to make the problem twice as bad. Even if it's a better format, the problem will be twice as bad. Because you're splitting the opinion. I will also say that the only way to really quiet that, you're never going to fully quiet it, but basically the way to keep it 50-50 is to go to the full season format. Anytime there's a different playoff format, there's going to be a debate. I would have won with that playoff format. He would have won with this playoff format. They would have won with this playoff format. If it was this way, right, you just get all that shit. Using hockey as an example, I know a lot of people don't watch hockey, but they went away from their 1 versus 8, the top seed plays the bottom seed. They went away from that for something they thought was going to be more exciting. They're like, the best team in the region will play the second best team in the region, and so it'll have rivalries. It'll make teams rivals, so then they'll play their rivals every year, and it will build animosity and drama. Well, it trivializes the entire regular season because the same teams play each other in the playoffs every year. The best teams play each other first. They're trying to hook people, right? Oh, I'm going to get invested in the playoffs. Look how crazy this matchup is. Meanwhile, the two best teams fucking play each other in the first round, knock each other out, so the playoffs get worse. The field of teams remaining gets worse as the playoffs go on. The series get easier as they go on instead of harder because the top teams are getting knocked out sooner. It trivializes not only the whole season, but also the playoffs. And then you don't end up crowning the champion that's supposed to be the champion. Everybody's like, well, if it was this way, this would have happened. And so there's a debate over the legitimacy of the champion. Does that sound familiar? All we want to do is crown the correct champion. Stop fucking around with weird playoff formats that try to make drama instead of just having them play out naturally. Because that is the drama in sports that everyone has loved for the entire existence of all sports. The drama happens on its own. If you try to force it, it's contrived, it's made up, it's fake short-term drama. I don't know how much more I can say about it. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.